community and our friends. This is Nav here. Thank you for joining us today. And we have Kṣaṇāti with us, and we're going to be talking about effects, in general effects of Ketu going into Vishakha, which is in February next month. Namaste, Kṣaṇāti.
Namaste, Nav. It's so good to be here with you, back discussing transits. And this was one of the transits I was most excited to discuss. I mean, aren't we also excited with Rahu and Ketu transits? And this is a very powerful transit as Ketu moves into Vishakha. And historically, there's been some really profound effects in society and people's lives. We're going to do 3 parts of our collaboration here to discuss Ketu and Vishakha. First, today, we're going to discuss some general effects, just a brief introduction into Ketu and Vishakha and what to kind of expect. And we'll look at the length of the transit. And then we'll do 2 parts, how it will affect each ascendant. So it's a very exciting discussion to get into. And I'm very enthusiastic about the power of Ketu and Vishaka Nakshatra. So just going to share my slides real quick.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Also, Kṣaṇāti, it's always a treat to connect with you and learn so much.
Thank you, Nav. I really enjoy our work together. So first, let's discuss what it's going to be like when Ketu first enters into Vishakha. So currently, I'm filming this video on January 28th. Hopefully, I release it today. But this transit doesn't hit for about 2 weeks from today, when on February 8th, 2022, noon Eastern time in the eastern part of the United States, we're looking at a direct activation of Ketu and Vishakha. So it's going to start a week from Tuesday. So this is very exciting to understand, as this is a very, very long transit. As you'll see as we get into this dates, it's going to go all the way into October. So to understand the Ketu and Vishakha energy starting on February 8th, and then we're going to see it kind of make a little bit of a shift when it transits out of the Taurus position, out of the Scorpio position into the Libra position. So the exact transit of that shift looks to be on April 12th. So from February 8th to April 12th, it is traveling in the Scorpio part of Vishakha. And then after that, it goes into the Libra part of Vishakha. So we're seeing this transit here affecting April 12th, 2022, when Ketu will go into Libra, still remaining in the heart of Vishaka Nakshatra. So this is about April 12th. It'll take on a different energy instead of Mars influence from Scorpio. Now we're getting really into that Venusian Venus energy of Ketu in Vishaka Nakshatra. And then we're going to have a little final transit in which it ends. So when is it going to end? So from April 12th, 2022 into October 18th, 2022, that's the length of Ketu in Vishakha when it's in Libra. On October 18th of 2022, it's gonna leave Vishaka Nakshatra. It's gonna go into Kṣaṇāti Nakshatra, which is a Rahu ruled nakshatra, and I'm sure Nav and I will do a video on that. But again, for the considerable future, you have most of February, all of March, all of April, all of May, all of June, all of July, all of August, all of September, and half of October. So you're looking at way over 8 months, almost 9 months length of this transit. Before we get into the elaboration, I just wanted to just show a picture of Vishaka Nakshatra, how it looks in the sky. Many people call this the fourth nakshatra or the split nakshatra, right? And I think that really lends nicely into the story of the nakshatra. You know, as you can see, the fork, these 2 different paths that Vishaka Nakshatra takes. And when we get into the effect of Vishaka Nakshatra, the question is, which of these 2 paths will you take? But the question is, well, they all lead to the same goal. They all lead to the same place. I think that's a beautiful metaphor for life sometimes, right? We all get so, Vishaka Nakshatra is a nakshatra of great conviction, which means those people with native Vishaka positions tend to feel very, very strongly about their beliefs and their opinions. One person may believe in Christianity, the other person may believe in Hinduism. And we have this tendency as human beings to say, okay, well, I believe in this, so I'm right. And you're going to, and if you're Christian, you say the other person is going to hell. And if you're Hindu and you don't like Christianity, you say everyone is living in Maya or illusion, right? So here's the question. All paths lead to God. That's what I wanted to say about Vishaka Nakshatra. All spiritual paths lead to the same place. No matter what you believe, our soul all goes to the same place. I firmly believe that in my understanding of spirituality. And that's something that I wanted to elaborate as we get into this discussion of Ketu and Vishaka Nakshatra, to be able to temper our conviction, but still be passionate about that is really what this Ketu and Vishaka transit is all about. So just to get a little bit into the energy of Ketu in Vishaka Nakshatra, Vishaka Nakshatra is connected to Jupiter. So it has this very wisdom seeking energy and it has this very altruistic energy. And so when the moksha karaka goes into that altruistic vibration, it creates an energy of spiritual service. So one path that's very, very strongly associated with that kind of Jupiterian vibration is the spiritual service energy. You know, how can we be less selfish? How can we be more kind? You know, how can we be more generous? How can we help another person who's suffering? And if you're in a spiritual community, to participate in seva and get spiritual rewards and get spiritual boons from your participation in seva, that's one of this really powerful energies of Ketu and Vishaka Nakshatra. Another energy that's really powerful associated with Vishaka because of the Shakti associated with it is the power of manifestation. They say those that have a well-placed Vishaka position have the powers to manifest. So that means, you know, if you have a really nice, exalted, you know, Saturn in Vishaka, or your Venus is there. And if you want something, if you desire something, if you work towards something, you can manifest it. How is that going to take on a different energy when Ketu, the Moksha Karaka, enters this power of manifestation? Because it's not so cut and dry. You know, a lot of times in our life, we all have our desires, right? Kama bhava. We want to find our soulmate. We want to have children. We want to develop a certain level of reputation in our skills and our hobbies and our career. We have this natural human inclination towards desire. But the universe and karma is a little bit funny sometimes, because sometimes when we desire something, we develop an attachment to it. When you develop an attachment to something, we all know from our experience with K2, that's when you get the rug pull. When you think you deserve something, when you think you're entitled to something, when you think it's 100% sure that because I've done these actions that I'm going to get this thing that I want, K2 has a different lesson to teach you. K2 will pull that rug out from underneath you and say, anything that you feel entitled to, anything that you feel you deserve, you're not going to get it. Because the fact that you feel you deserve it when nothing is guaranteed in life, it's creating an illusion of your spiritual growth. If you think you deserve something, if you have an attachment to something that you want, that is not moksha, that is not spiritual evolution. And K2 has a way of, as the giver of obstacles, placing certain obstacles in our life that might prevent us from getting those things that we want. That could be a blessing in disguise. It's not taking away those things permanently. Ketu and Vishaka will not always last forever, but maybe taking those things temporarily until spiritually we deserve them. So there's a bit of a catch-22, or a game that I think Ketu and Vishaka plays with us, which is saying, okay, if you really want something, plant a seed for it. Which, if you look at that fork of the two different paths, plant a seed along that path, knowing that at that bottom of Vishaka Nakshatra, if you plant that seed and don't have attachment to it, that one day it will bring you to God. And in many ways, the two different paths for Vishaka and Ketu, one is the spiritual path and one is the material path. And that's very interesting when you look at Ketu and Vishaka Nakshatra, because historically, at other times of Ketu and Vishaka, there's been incredible advancements in technology, right? So the power of manifestation. You want an iPhone to exist, you have a vision of an iPhone, all of a sudden, all of us are on our iPhones. You think that there should be this great system where we can all communicate with each other on these laptop computers on this network called the internet. Now we're all sitting on our computers on the internet. You think that paper currency shouldn't be valued the way that it is, so you're inventing a digital currency which you can buy and sell and trade on the internet. Now we have cryptocurrency. It's very interesting that as we get into this time of K2 and Vishaka, that we understand that if you have a vision for something, especially if it's related to technology, but also if it's related to service, right? Because there's the material and the spiritual. Do you want to create an innovation in the world that's going to make a positive, profound impact on the world, help us be more connected to each other? Or maybe you're going to be in service because you want to be brought closer to moksha. But the power of that Ketu Vishaka Nakshatra gives the possibilities for both. So to understand that to plant your seed, especially on the material innovative side, if it's related to your career, if it's related to an investment, if it's related, I want to travel in another location, you set that as an intention. But as soon as you get attached to it or you feel you're entitled to it, K2 will take it away from you. So the energy of manifestation with K2 and Vishaka Nakshatra is to plant a seed and then let it go. You know, they say in the philosophy of love and romance, if you truly love someone, then don't try to control them. If you truly love someone, let them go. And if that love is real, they will come back to you. That's the same as the visions and dreams that you have for your life of this K2 and Vishaka transit. If you have a dream or vision, plant that seed, set an intention, and then let it go. If it's meant to be, it'll come back to you. But even if it has the possibility to manifest due to K2, the Moksha Karaka going in Vishaka, if you try to control it, if you try to make it happen on your will, on your time, instead of God's will and God's time, it is bound to not manifest, right? Because K2 can remove things. So again, the power of manifestation due to the Jnana Shakti is still incredibly powerful over the course of this transit. But the more attachment, the more desire, the more selfish you are. So here's another thing about Vishaka Nakshatra that I've noticed in my research. On one side of Vishaka Nakshatra, because of Jupiter's influence, you have that selfless humanitarian person, the person who wants to help out, to make the world a better place, to teach without compensation, to help people that are homeless or drug addicted or orphans or elderly. They naturally have that energy, and it's beautiful because it's sometimes hard to find in the world. But then you also have the people that are selfish. The lower side of Vishaka Nakshatra, it lends to selfishness instead of, okay, because you have the power to manifest. So the question is, let's say you have that power of manifestation. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to manifest something for your own selfish gains? Or are you going to manifest something for your guru? Are you going to manifest something for your society? Are you going to manifest something for your culture? When you look at Vishaka Nakshatra, going back to the path here of Vishaka, this is the path of selflessness, and this is the path of selfishness. And the question is, you know, if you're truly selfless in your actions, the power of manifestation is still there. But due to Ketu being in Vishaka, the normally with Vishaka Nakshatra, the more selfish your intention is, the longer it will take you to get there, right? This is a longer leg of Vishaka than this one. The more selfless, the more you want to do something positive with what you want to manifest or dream, then the path to manifesting it is shorter. It's a karmic reward for being less selfish. But one of the things that's interesting is I think with Ketu entering Vishaka, it takes away this longer path
Mm.
where it's saying if you really want something to manifest, then you can't be selfish or entitled about it. You have to take the selfless humanitarian path if you want it to manifest here. So it's a little symbol or analogy to kind of understand the power of manifestation. One thing that's also notable about Vishaka Nakshatra is they're lovable. These are people that have social skills. And, I'm sure anyone who's watching this video has a friend with a good Vishaka and Nakshatra position, and they enjoy their time with that person. They enjoy their company with them, right? Especially on the Libra side, it has this possibility when the Vishaka person's feeling pleasurable, you feel that pleasure. Right? You call it a contact high, a natural high. So that energy of understanding that Vishaka has the power to have a real sensory positive impact on other people is also lending to the social aspect, which this Ketu and Vishaka Nakshatra, it's going to help bring you your community. It's going to help deepen your relationship with your friends. But Ketu only cares that your frequency is in alignment with the highest spiritual frequency. So let's say you have a friend. Let's say you even have a family member. Let's say you have a job that is not in alignment with your highest spiritual frequency. Then Ketu and Vishaka Nakshatra will likely remove it. And that's one thing to just be concerned about with this nakshatra, and maybe not concerned as much as you should be aware that if there's some kind of chaos or battle or war between an old friend and you, or a family member is becoming more distant, it might bring you a little bit suffering because of your history with that person. But it's Ketu's blessing to take that energy out of your life, the job that's not serving you, the person that's not serving you, the friend that's not serving you, so you can be recognized and honored for the divine spiritual being that resides inside of your soul. So just appreciate the gift. Yes, Naf?
So this would be the general theme, right? Like when Ketu enters Vishakha until October, we can see these things happening in everyone's life, regardless, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the general energy.
Exactly. And when we look into each ascendant, we'll see, okay, well, what aims and areas of selfishness versus selflessness and selfishness? Which areas do you have that temptation? In terms of our desires manifesting by letting them go, where is that desire? Is it romantic? Is it career? Is it in terms of understanding ourselves? We can see that through each ascendant. But these themes playing out is something that we can all experience in our lives, which is we have the potential to manifest our dreams. But are those dreams selfish, or do they benefit a greater whole? Do they serve some kind of greater purpose? We have the possibility to bring great innovation in our lives and our society and have a profound impact. But are you doing that for financial gain? Or are you doing that because you want to create a social network or increase the prosperity of people's lives, not just your own? But yeah, during this transit, these are the themes that are going to play out. And I look forward to diving into each ascendant to know, okay, well, if you're this ascendant, it's going to affect this aim of life, this area of life. But I hope we all enjoyed this elaboration on how spiritually this Ketu and Vishaka will impact us.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, thank you, Kṣaṇāti. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and we will be back soon with our each going from each ascendant. Thank you so much, Kṣaṇāti.
My pleasure. Hari Om, Om Namah Shivaya.